The standard jack that comes with most cars can get your vehicle high enough to change a tire. But mechanics say the height from here to here, a state audit of Arizona's prison system found that there's a serious lack of oversight and security. But as NBA labor negotiations continue to linger on, looks like the players will continue to remain locked out.
Reporter John Brimley joins us live with the details.
Emily, you've seen the blue and white cloud license plates. Checking and changing your oil and even your air filter are things you can probably do at home. The Queensland of London, England is but a flight across the pond for some. So much so that restaurants and shops have to remind customers that they're still available for business. Live in the newsroom, John Brimley, Cronkite News.
And this holiday weekend was a special time for a group of Arizona soldiers who just returned from Iraq. And we felt the best person to cover this story was reporter John Brimley, who himself is a captain in the Army and knows very well the excitement of returning home.
For these Arizona National Guard soldiers, coming out of the desert sands of Iraq and into the comfort of family meant that their journey is now complete.
We're happy, we're excited and grateful that they're home and that he's home and in one piece.
The drumbeat of triumph for these soldiers symbolized more than the end to this deployment. For some, the pride of being with the unit on this first march into Iraq in 2003, and now to be a part of the last troops out of Iraq, it's a little extra special.
It actually makes me feel a little special and exceptionally proud of my unit.
And even as families celebrate their soldiers' homecoming, the commander says these soldiers have left their mark forever in Iraq.
They're very proud of the work that they did, and they know that they did a good job, and everybody else knows it too. It feels good when you've got that consensus.
For Patricia, her husband's return from Iraq is extra special.
I am excited for him to see the baby. He is 2 months old and Daddy had seen him on Skype, but this is the first time he gets to hold him.
And as the newborn makes his impressions on Daddy, Captain Chris says he's glad he's back home and not losing touch with his 2-year-old anymore.
He recognized me, and that meant the world to me. You know, for him to look at me and see me as his dad and give me some love.
He says now the real work begins back home, where he now transitions from being a soldier to being a father. In Phoenix, John Brimley, Cronkite News.
He didn't find anything.
Ann Ridenauer is doing everything she can to squeeze some extra miles from her 2004 Buick Rainier.
I always had my oil changed every 3,000 miles.
But lately she's had to make some tough decisions about her SUV.
I have been skipping some of the checkups like at 60,000 miles.
And more so out of necessity than anything.
And it was because of finances. It just, I thought we're going to have to just take it easy.
And she's not alone. Auto repair shops are the ones cashing in.
We're starting to see more repair work than we have in the last several years.
And Virginia Auto Care owner Matt Allen says that's not because people aren't taking care of their cars.
We see that people are keeping their car longer and maintain it, and they realize that they have to keep their car longer, so they're taking care of it.
But people are also trying to bypass the repair shop altogether. Checking and changing your oil and even your air filter are things you can probably do at home. But when it comes to changing brakes or other complicated things like that, you may want to see a mechanic.
There's some things that it is a good idea to take it somewhere where someone can actually use a scan tool to check inside, and see what's actually going on.
But for people like Ann, there is no do-it-yourself option.
I don't know how to do things like that. I just know how to drive them.
She just hopes she can keep her Buick Rainier on the road because, as she says, this will be her last car. Snow-capped trees and green leaves are a welcome sight for some Arizonans. And for India Williams, it means a part of her life that burned away in the Wallow Fire has now returned.
Our lives are still connected to the forest.
Some of the optimism William finds in the forest comes from the annual effort to cut down the perfect Christmas tree.
And it's a tradition in our family, and it's a kind of a gathering and a fun thing to do.
But back in July, National Forest caretaker Jerry Drury didn't think the tradition would continue.
Frankly, the forest was very black, and I'm talking about not only the trees that were burned, but also the grass.
But the soot-covered trunks and singed pine straw hanging from the trees are clear signs that some areas are still off limit.
We did have to restrict areas that were severely burned by the fire due to hazard trees and or roads that were severely damaged by flooding resulting from the fire.
In all, there are a total of 6 areas that are shut down because of damage from the Wallow fire. But this is what an area looks like that's still available for tree cutting. So for Williams, the forest is one place where she sees happiness.
It just builds the hope and the future. You know, the forest is still there. It didn't get completely wiped out.
And that hope, along with a 10-foot tree, is a tradition Williams can be proud of. In Springerville, John Brimley, Cronkite News.